Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a flawless full glam complexion routine that is mask proof. So I'm excited. You guys will see at the end that it is mask proof. Now, before we go into this video, I do want to go ahead and introduce myself. If you guys are new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Jessica, aka The Mexican Beauty, and I make videos on all things beauty, lifestyle, and fashion here on YouTube. So I would love for you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. While you're at it, hit that notification bell because I'll make sure that you never miss a video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram because whenever I'm not here on YouTube, I'm over there 24/7. So follow me on Instagram, The Mexican Beauty, to learn all the fun details. So without further ado, I know you guys just want me to go ahead and get into this makeup look, this nice snatched full coverage complexion. Keep watching. Okay, so the first things first is we're going to go ahead and begin with our moisturizer. Moisturizer is so essential to just having that absolute perfect base. So there's been two moisturizers that I've been really enjoying. It's been the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream, which you guys see me talk about all the time. This is like my holy grail. This is the intense hydration, perfect for this time of the year when our skin tends to get very dry. Now, I do want to say, if you are somebody that has issues with the way foundation lays on top, I would definitely look into what you are using for your base as in moisturizer, because that can really kind of determine how everything lays on top. So you really just want to make sure that you're using something that really does benefit your skin. So if you do have a lot of dryness, I recommend a very hydrating primer. If you do suffer from a very oily skin, even during the winter, then I would recommend something that is more so of a gel-like consistency suited for a oily skin. I would recommend First Aid Beauty, the Ultra Repair Cream, but the oil control version of it, because that will definitely hydrate you, but not leave you looking any type of dewy. Now this one right here doesn't leave you looking dewy or anything crazy like that, but I know certain people have different needs. So that's just my recommendation, because base is important. Even when you're wearing a mask, you gotta make sure that base is on fleek. Okay, so the next thing that is very important, especially with the mask wearing, is having a really good gripping primer. I've been really enjoying this one by Huda Beauty. I think they did a great job with this primer because it's hydrating, but it does allow everything to lay really nicely on top. So I've been just kind of using this all over. And this also will help the foundation really stick in place so that when you put your mask on over top, then you can have a really good base to grip on. Now, I do have to say, I haven't found a gripping primer at the drugstore that I would be like, oh my gosh, this is a complete dupe. There hasn't been one that I've seen. If you guys have any recommendations, leave them down below. I love learning about new drugstore primers. What else did I want to say? Oh, if you do have oily skin and you're looking for a good gripping primer but doesn't have like those hydrating features, I would really recommend the Cover FX Grip Firm Primer. It is so nice. So we have this right now. Now we're gonna move on to the foundation. So in the last mask makeup routine that I did talk about more so of a lightweight coverage foundation tinted moisturizer to apply when you are wearing a mask. But this one today is more so geared for people that want to still wear their full coverage consistencies with a mask. This one right here, this is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. This is an OG. This one is definitely suited more so for people that like that really full coverage finish, that matte finish. I'm in the shade Cashew 3W2. I will have my shade references down below. So I'm just gonna be applying it on the back of my hand and then dotting it all over to create that perfect base that's not going to allow anything to really transfer onto the mask. Actually, let me grab my brush because I'm gonna need it. So I'm gonna be using my IT Cosmetics 704 brush. Is this the 704? 702. I always forget how messy things like this are. Okay, so this is the foundation. Very full coverage, so we don't need to go too intense with it. I think the shade below this was tawny and it was like a little too light for me. So what I like to do is I take my brush, my 702 by IT Cosmetics, and I just apply apply the product, kind of just buff it into my skin. You guys can see. Fun fact, this is the first foundation I ever tried when I was younger. I think it was in 8th grade. My mom owned this foundation. I feel like everybody's mom owned this foundation. So this is the foundation. You guys can see covers really, really fast. So a little bit of this goes a long way. Even though I do feel like they have changed the formula slightly, just because I feel like it's not as like thick in consistency as it used to be when I was younger and I used to wear this. It's a little bit more lightweight, which is awesome. This is kind of like the first layer that I like to do with a brush to really kind of press the product into the skin, get like that pigmentation that you want. And then I can build it up with a little bit more product, but with my sponge. I'm gonna be using my Kokie Cosmetics sponge. This sponge has been like my go-to. So I'm gonna be using it and I'm gonna just be applying a little bit more product. And because it is a damp sponge, it really allows the product to apply really nicely and not look cakey, not be sitting on top. I also really like to focus the product up here because people can see your forehead, you know? And you do want to take it down a little bit because you do want to cover this part. Because depending on the mask you're wearing, some masks just like go up to here, but some kind of go a little bit lower than your chin. So you kind of want to just take it through. This foundation by Estee Lauder will probably be one of your best bets if you want the foundation to really stay on very nicely, not go anywhere. It really does a good job of locking into place, especially if you do want that full coverage finish and you do want it to like not budge whatsoever. You guys can see once applied, it does give you more so of that matte finish. It still looks really nice, healthy, and hydrated. I think a lot of it has to do with because I did go ahead and make sure I prepped it correctly. So just make sure that you really do pay attention to how you prep your skin because that will kind of determine everything. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna be taking my concealer. So I'm gonna be using my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is my holy grail concealer of all time. The reason I'm going in with a hydrating concealer with a matte foundation is because you don't want matte on matte, and I mention that all the time. You want something hydrating to sit on top of the matte so that it doesn't rub against each other and cause things to separate. Now I am going to be going in with this Rare Beauty brush. This is the concealer brush. And since we are going for that full coverage snatch, I did go in with quite a good amount of concealer, which I probably should have gone in with a little bit less, but I got excited because I was like, this is my favorite concealer of all time, which it is. But this is a full coverage concealer, so just keep that in mind. So you don't really need that much. It is a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, but honestly, I think this is better. Especially if you are looking for a good hydrating full coverage product, this will be your mejor amiga. So I'm just going in and sharpening this edge where my eyeshadow is. And I really kind of drag it downwards. And I use the brush just because I want to blend it out. Then I go in with my Kokie sponge once more on the tip. And I kind of just further blend everything together just to kind of seal the deal, you know? You guys can see automatically the difference that it makes applying that concealer against the foundation because immediately it makes sure that the foundation kind of has a little bit of dimension to it. This is lighter than the foundation. So now I'm going to be going in with my Airspun powder. I always have to go in with it fast because if I don't, I will crease like a crazy person. And I really just target right beneath the eye, like where the crease lines are, just because I don't need that powder everywhere else, especially because we are going in with a full coverage matte foundation, the last thing you want is to have too much powder on this foundation, loose powder in particular. Because I feel like with loose powder, it can really mattify things really quickly. You don't really have much control over it if you're applying it all over. So I like to just really target that under eye right there specifically. And you do want to have a good under eye concealer that's gonna cover everything you want it to cover, more so a full coverage consistency. When you do go with the mask is gonna cover all this. So you're gonna be able to still see some of that under eye. In particular, those creases. So if you do creases like me, you wanna make sure that is gone so that you don't see that. So you wanna have that right there. And I forgot to mention, but this is in the shade Medium Sand. I know I always say Tan Sand. So future self who's editing this video, remember that you said Medium Sand. I always like to go for a lighter color for my under eyes because I never like to match my foundation just because I personally prefer that really nice bright under eye. Once we have that kind of roughly placed and blended, then we can go back in with our Koki sponge and further blend. You guys have to get this Koki sponge. It is literally incredible. So good, and it's like $5 or $6. I will have it linked down below so you guys can check it out. I do have a coupon code with Koki Cosmetics, the Max Beauty, and you can save yourself 25% off your order. I would say shop it online just because I know that in Rite Aid stores, they don't always have their latest releases, like it takes a while for them to get things. Now to continue focusing on the complexion, I always do like to do a little bit of my nose contour, so I'm gonna quickly do that because I just feel like for me, nose contour is essential. I really enjoy doing it. And like always, I use this Wet n Wild contour stick, which is a great dupe for a lot of high-end sticks. So one thing that I learned through the past few months of just having to do, you know, a full face of makeup when I wear a mask, I like to make sure that I really do a good job of setting my nose area. That's kind of the area that transfers easier and just like the makeup separates. So I've kind of gone down a routine that I personally like, where my makeup on my nose stays on a lot better than when we first started wearing masks. So I'm about to show you guys. But the first step is always applying my nose contour because we do go in with cream products. So I just like to make sure that I lay down the creams so then I can go ahead and apply the powder. So now that I have that, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with a little bit of some powder on the sides. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna be taking this brush. This is the JH10 brush, and it's really good for kind of like snatching up those sides. That can be the case, but for me, more so I do it just because I want to make sure that these edges stay really nice and transfer proof when we do apply the mask. So you can use a sponge, like you can use an angled sponge like this to apply it, or you can use a brush. I really like this brush because I feel like it really gets in my nose properly so that it doesn't kind of like get too thick. So we have that. Of course, I do want to go ahead and apply a little bit of blush because I kind of want something, you know, on the face. So I've been really obsessed with Kitten Baby by Kylie Cosmetics. It is super light, but I think it's like really nice because it still gives a little pop of color on the cheekbones. And I'm going to kind of apply it a little bit higher than I normally would apply blush. Now, another suggestion I would give you guys is that if you guys are wearing full glam with a mask, I would say use powders over liquids because I've noticed that whenever I've used liquid blush and I wear my mask, the liquid blush tends to disappear much quicker and fade much quicker because it is that liquidy consistency, so it doesn't stick as well. So I would say definitely do more so of a powder consistency for your blush. And I also feel like with blush, it's like the first product that like really kind of fades away. So if you're using that liquidy consistency and then a mask, it can just kind of cause it to like really fade fast. Let me go ahead and just clean up the nose. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go in with a little bit of loose powder, and I'm going to apply powder all over the nose as a whole. Just all over. Because I want it to all lock into place. So we have that. I like to go ahead and use pressed powder. With this pressed powder, I like to apply it in all the areas where I feel like my makeup could potentially fade a little bit faster. So we're gonna cover all those grounds. So the first place that I really like to target, since we already did the nose, we don't have to worry about that part. But next part that really matters to me is kind of around here, the smile lines. Not only does it help kind of allow things not to transfer so easily, but those are the areas where I tend to get very oily, so I really do want to kind of lock that in place with my powder. For the powder foundation, I am using the Kokie Cosmetics Pressed Powder Foundation. This is a new product and it is absolutely amazing. This is very comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury powder. Another place that I like to apply it in is right here, because this is kind of where the mask really goes in and like pushes against your face. So I like to apply it here. This is in the color Sand, 30W Sand. Another place that I also like to take precaution is right here, because this is kind of where the mask also stops. So I like to just apply a little bit of powder there to kind of lock it in place. I do want to share with you guys lips, because I feel like lip is one thing that a lot of people had trouble with during quarantine, because it's like, oh, now I can't wear my favorite lipsticks because quarantine. If I'm going somewhere, like, best believe I'm gonna have my lipstick on. So the best way for your lipstick not to transfer is to do matte lipsticks. So I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a nude moment with like a brownie tone, just to kind of go along with everything going on here. So I'm gonna be starting off with MAC Cork. And I'm gonna be taking the Dose of Colors liquid lipstick in Sand. If you guys have any recommendations for some good nude liquid lipsticks, let me know, like from the drugstore. I wanna try out more drugstore finds. Like I said, I love the fact that they are matte, so they like stay in place, they don't budge, they don't go anywhere. So when I do take off this mask, I still have my liquid lipstick on. The last thing that I like to go ahead and do before I go out and wear my mask is setting spray. This one is the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. This one is the Party All Night, Stay All Day. It is a more pricey product, so I do have the mini one, but I do plan on purchasing this because what I love about this setting spray in particular is the fact that it makes everything last all day, but it makes your makeup really become one with your skin, which I think is so nice and beautiful. I also love the way the stuff smells. It smells amazing. That's another reason why I'm just like totally here for it. So let me go ahead and spray. Okay guys, so this completes this full coverage, flawless mask makeup routine. So this routine is gonna be great for all those little tips and tricks that you guys need to create something that'll last under your mask, that you won't have to worry about when you do take your mask off to interact or to just look like a baddie on the vlog. So the masks that I've been loving the most are these right here, and I mentioned this in, I think, my fall favorites video, the SKIMS masks. They're literally the best. What I like to do is I like to just apply these. I can't put it all the way just because my earrings are literally in the way, but you guys can see how much you can still see of my face. So the eyes, all this, full coverage makeup, nice and covered, my SKIMS mask on. I will leave this down below so you guys can look into it. Maybe sold out just because these sell out so fast, but I will have the color and everything so that you guys can join the wait list if it is sold out. Then you take it off and you still have flawless makeup. And look, barely got anything on the mask. The only thing that kind of came off was my lipstick, just because it hasn't dried down completely. Because usually my mask has like makeup everywhere. But the fact that it's literally just these little pieces right here, it's really good. And you guys can see the makeup still perfectly on, in place, looks beautiful, looks snatched. The nose, no transfer because I set it correctly. That's a big thing that I learned during this quarantine and just this whole year of mask wearing is how to set my nose correctly, because my nose does tend to transfer easily on masks. And once I locked down that idea, like it all worked out. But you guys can see, still flawless, even with a mask. But if you guys did enjoy watching this video, give it a big thumbs up. It lets me know to continue doing these types of videos for you guys, because I really do love doing these for you guys. I think they're so fun and informative, and they can really help you out. Don't forget to subscribe like I mentioned already. Also follow me on Instagram, The Mexican Beauty. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys are staying safe, staying blessed, and staying beautiful, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.